Your boss won't listen to you. Your spouse doesn't listen to you. Your kids barely know you're alive. But here at The Fan, we love and appreciate you.
Just when we learn to appreciate what a huge wussy you are.
This is the show for the people, by the people. It's The Fan Call-In Show.
Presented by the ESPN Bet Sportsbook inside Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Here are the leaders of the Lunatic Fringe, Scotty Vegas and Ryan Baker.
Yes, it is your show. It is the Fan Call-In Show. No Scotty Vegas today. I am Ryan Baker, though, and filling in for Scotty is our very own Dave Biddle. Hopefully you have had a safe and happy 4th of July out there, and you've enjoyed your celebrations and a couple days off work, hopefully. The number to call, 614-821-9710. Again, it is your show, so we can talk about whatever you want. A couple of things that we were thinking about, though, Dave, and one of those is because it is the 4th of July. What is your perfect holiday 4th of July plate? I know what mine is, and I will give that here in a little bit, but we want to hear from you guys. Again, 614-821-9710. What is your perfect holiday plate? And then also, I got to thinking about this a couple weeks ago because I have lived in my life and I've got to see some greatness. Now, not all of it in person, obviously, but I think of golf, and I got to see the end of Jack Nicklaus. I remember that. And then we got to see the greatness that was Tiger Woods. I think of basketball, and I went from Bird and Magic, my first basketball memories, to MJ, to Kobe and Shaq, and then into LeBron, and what a great run in that. I think of baseball, and I got to see Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr., and now I'm getting to see Shohei Ohtani and just the greatness of him. And just the dominance in hockey, going from Wayne Gretzky and Lemieux to Sid and Ovi, and now Connor McDavid, and just all of that. And it got me thinking about, the quarterback position in the NFL. Joe Montana, Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes. I feel like I've been really lucky to see a lot of, in sports, we're going to call the greatest ever to do it, or the greatest while they did it. And it just got me thinking who the greatest athlete that we've ever seen in person was. So again, 614-821-9710. We do have some dining credits to the ESPN Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino to give away to some of our favorite callers. Dave, I don't know how you feel about that because you're just a little bit older than I am, but I feel super lucky in my sports fandom to have seen some of the greats.
Absolutely. And to answer the question, definitely the greatest athlete I've ever seen in person is Michael Jordan. And it was relatively early in his career. I believe it was I could look up the exact, because it was Pippen and Horace Grant's rookie year. I think it was 87-88. They were playing at Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. They were playing the Pacers. Bulls got down early, and then they came back and won. And that was my first time ever seeing an NBA game in person, my first time seeing Michael Jordan. So definitely Jordan. Yeah, so I think it was 87-88, and I just remember because it was Pippen and Horace Grant's rookie year. So, yeah, I'll go with definitely for me it was Michael Jordan. I did see Barry Bonds in person when he was with the Pirates. I always say this about Barry Bonds. I know I'm not the only one that says this. Like, he was an MVP even without the steroids. He was a Hall of Famer without it, and I almost give him a pass. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I give him a pass. Here's why. He saw Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa basically just take over the sport, and he's looking like, I am better than both those guys combined, is what he's thinking in his mind. Whether he's true or not, whether that's right or not is up for debate, but he's thinking he's clearly better than both of them. And they're clearly using steroids. I think Bonds has said, okay, screw this. If they're not going to do anything about it, I'm going to take steroids too. And let's also keep in mind, the pitchers were using too. Roger Clemens was using, Andy Pettitte was using. Those are just the guys that got caught. So Barry Bonds is definitely on my list, but I'm going with Michael Jordan.
I never got to see Michael Jordan in person. Obviously, to me, the best to ever do it on the basketball court. And I know there's arguments, and I know the newer generation will always argue LeBron. But to me, as Cam raises his hand and he'll say LeBron, better than Jordan. But to me, Jordan, I think the best athlete I ever saw in person would have to be Tiger Woods. being able to see him at the Memorial and following him for a couple holes. Now, is he the greatest ever to do it in golf? I don't know. There's that argument, obviously, with Jack Nicklaus, and I know that strikes a nerve with a lot of people here. And it's a shame that we didn't get to see Tiger play a whole career healthy, right? The car accidents, the back injury, and we don't know. Tiger got to 15 majors. We don't know if he could have ever got to Jack and beaten that. Tiger was it was different, though. It was different than anything we'd ever seen. And it was almost like Tiger was as good off the course as he was on the course, because when he went up against someone on a Sunday, he just didn't lose. And a lot of times that was before the round even started, because he had just such a mental advantage over these guys. And for some reason, they couldn't beat him.
And I think that's a big reason why, obviously the injuries as well, but like when everything started to go south for him, I think he lost that mental edge. Yeah, did the physicality play over? Yes, of course. But what did every coach say growing up to us? And we probably laughed at it. Sports are 10% physical and 90% mental. I used to think that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And then you get to older and you think, okay, maybe it's not 90-10, but the mental side of sports are so important. And you nailed it. I mean, guys, they probably thought they had no chance going against Tiger. They could be maybe even up, a stroke. But certainly if you're down a stroke against Tiger or multiple strokes on a Sunday, you're thinking, I have no chance. He seemed to lose that mental edge. Now, maybe the injuries were a bigger factor, but I definitely feel like just when everything started to go south with, first with his marriage and everything like that, and that was the first time anything really crazy like that happened to him, where his public image was like, oh my gosh, and everything was coming out with like Perkins waitresses and stuff like that. He just never, he did win one more after that. I think he only won one major after that. It was years later, but like he seemed to lose that mental edge. Would you agree with that?
1,000%. And, maybe that was because of the physical injuries. And he thought, man, I can't just trust my back like I used to. I can't go after, I can't hit this 3-wood 300 yards like I used to, or know when I need to step on a driver, I can get that little bit more to get over this sand trap or whatever it was. But yeah, I do think, and I think that's part of the difference with the golfers nowadays. And part of what Tiger did was he made these purses so big in golf that a Scotty Scheffler wins a tournament now, and I think everybody would kind of agree that Scotty Scheffler's the best right now on the planet. Scotty Scheffler wins $4 million, and he wins a tournament. What's your why after that? Like, what gets you to keep going? What makes you want to dominate and win that next tournament and whatnot? And I think that's one of the things that makes the greats so special is obviously their physical abilities, but Michael dominated people in the mental game, and he wasn't going to lose, fights in practice because he never wanted to lose. Kobe was kind of that same way. And I think a lot of times it's that mentality of the athletes that not only you pair that with their physical abilities, and that's what makes them the best.
We do have a commenter on our YouTube page. Again, so you can watch the show. You can see Ryan Baker's beautiful face. You can listen to the show on our YouTube page, 971 The Fan. And we have a comment. $10 says Katie Smith was so good in person. Also mentions Ted Ginn Jr. I like bringing a couple Buckeyes in the mixer. Katie Smith was great. I've got a good Katie Smith story. So back in the day, Katie Smith was fantastic, and I'm going to get to this. It was women's basketball, to me, has made bigger strides overall, the quality of play in the last, 20, 30 years in any sport I can think about. Whereas there was always really good players like Katie Smith, but now there's a lot of good players. Okay, so for example, we were, when I was a student at Ohio State, we were playing pickup basketball, and there were a couple girls that were on the basketball team. They weren't starters or anything like that. And if anything, we were better than them, just being intramural players, right? These girls were on the varsity basketball team at Ohio State. Then Katie Smith walked in one day, right? And she just wiped the floor with everybody, just destroyed all of us, destroyed everybody. The gap between Katie Smith and her, now again, her teammates were probably the last girls off the bench. They weren't starters. My point is, you couldn't do that now. Intramural players, somebody some schlub like me over at Ohio State trying to play even a girl off the bench for Ohio State women's basketball team, you would get cooked. But Katie Smith came out there and just kicked all of our butts. Just kicked our butts. I'm still kind of proud about that.
We talked a little bit about Katie Smith this week and the fact that the WNBA is expanding and they're going to be going to Cleveland. And a lot of people thought Columbus would be a good spot for that. And obviously the last time was the Columbus Quest when there was a women's basketball league here. And obviously Katie Smith was a part of that. I saw Katie Smith in person, but for some reason I don't really remember it, and I should. To me, the best women's basketball player that I've seen in person was Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell was dominant in high school and then dominant at Ohio State, and she's the best that I really remember seeing in person. I know and remember that I saw Katie Smith, but I don't have vivid memories of that for some reason.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I do remember, and she played another great. It was Ohio State against Texas Tech. They got to the national championship game. And Cheryl Swoops. That's right. And Texas Tech did win, but Katie Smith just put that Ohio State team on her back, took them all the way to the national championship game. She was fantastic and had a really good pro career as well, and won at least one, maybe two, maybe more than that, gold medals in the Olympics. So yeah, Katie Smith is just a legend here.
Nice to have her back as a part of things over at Ohio State now as well. JC Sheldon chipping in there too. Again, 614-821-9710 is the number. We're talking about greatest athletes that we've ever seen in person. Also, we've got to get to our 4th of July plates. What are Bids and I's perfect plates? We want to hear yours too as well. 614-821-9710. Greg, Randy, hang on the line. We will get to you coming up next. It's the Fan Call-In Show on The Fan.
Wake up with the Fan. Eat lunch with the Fan. Go to bed with the Fan. Dream about the Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? It's all here, only with Spectrum TV Select. Popular apps are included. Disney Plus, Max, Peacock Premium, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and more. And live TV for sports, entertainment, and news. Enjoy across your devices no matter when or where you are. Get Spectrum TV Select and start streaming your favorites today. It's all here. Visit spectrum.com/entertainment. Restrictions apply.
Back to Hollywood Casino Columbus and the ESPN Bet Sportsbook for an all-star game celebration and watch party. When? Tuesday, July 15th. Compete in our home run derby at 7 o'clock for a chance to win an incredible experience at an upcoming Reds game, plus a $250 gift card. So join On the Money's Dave Biddle and me, Scotty Vegas. Compete to win at 7 and enjoy the all-star game at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at 8. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. Did you know their co-founders are Ohio natives? Yeah. Window Nation has been replacing windows in the Columbus region for over 15 years. Not only does Window Nation know what windows work best for Ohio homeowners like you, they're also local to the area. And right now, you can take advantage of Window Nation's biggest sale of the year. Get 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 whole years. You heard that right. With Window Nation, you won't pay any interest until 2030. Plus, they'll install your new windows in 1 day or less, so you can get back to your daily routine right away. Personally, I wouldn't procrastinate. You don't want to wait on this deal. It's a trustworthy company like Window Nation, getting your windows in 1 day or less. 50% off all window styles now, plus 0 interest until 2030 with Window Nation. Call them up, 866-90NATION, or visit windownation.com to get your free quote on replacement windows. 866-90NATION or windownation.com. And tell them T-Bone sent you.
We can come the day you call us.
We're 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
Brian, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Okay, ask away.
Sometimes when we're talking, I hear a little sparkling sound.
Is it when one of us says, all you have to do is point?
There it is. Did you hear that?
That's the sound of magic happening.
Magic? Like we can come the day you call us? Wow.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
This just in from the Lindsay Honda newsroom. It's our big anniversary sale. 0% for up to 60 months has been extended on all new Hondas. Drive a new 2025 CR-V LX all-wheel drive with 0% financing.
Lower your rate, lower your payment.
Save thousands on hundreds of new Hondas when you buy now.
With so many Hondas, why would you go anywhere else?
Shop the big, the beautiful Lindsay Honda now. Visit lindsayhonda.com for details. Join Timmy Hall for Buckeye Replay this Saturday at 1. All back in classic games in Ohio State football history.
Sponsored by Weber Grills.
This week, Ohio State kicks the crap out of Wisconsin in the 2014 Big Ten title game. The Fan.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because we know in making the most of your home, DIY doesn't just stand for do it yourself. It also means dream it yourself. And we're here to help protect the dreams you're building. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hey, is that knee, shoulder, hip, that pain in any of your joints not getting better? You're stuck in this cycle where you keep going back to the doctor. They recommend steroid shots. Maybe they recommend surgery, rehab, and all of those things are not working for you. Before you go down the road of the surgery, you'll want to listen to this. Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. I want to tell you something that helped me a ton, and it'll help a lot of other people get their lives back as well. And this is no more meds and not going under the knife. I'm talking about my friends at QC Kinetics, Real Regenerative Medicine. They help your body heal itself. After years of playing professional football, I was beat up. My dad was beat up. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to have any more surgery. So I went to my friends at QC Kinetics, and they took a look at it, and they said, hey, we can help you with your knee. It's not going to be an overnight fix, but they've got protocols and procedures to help get you well without going under the knife. So here's what you do. Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. They have offices all over Columbus.
I can't wait to meet her. Oh my gosh.
Put your hands together for new Dr. Pepper Blackberry and Dr. Pepper Blackberry Zero Sugar.
There she is! Woohoo! Yeah! It's full Dr. Pepper!
With sweet blackberry flavor!
Dr. Pepper Blackberry, I'm obsessed with your succulent taste. Please marry me!
No! Marry me! Marry me or I'm gonna freak out!
Try new Dr. Pepper Blackberry.
It's a pepper thing!
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
This afternoon, our highs soar into the mid to low 90s, with our feels like in the upper 90s. It'll be mainly sunny with a stray shower or storm possible the second half of the day. Tonight, partly cloudy with our lows down into the 70s, and then unsettled weather returns the second half of the day on Monday with chances of showers and storms. Otherwise, partly cloudy with our highs in the low 90s. For the Fan, I'm meteorologist Meredith Garfolo with your 10 weather impact forecast.
Bo Bishop is a media legend. We have no idea where the other guys came from. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan. The Fan Call-In Show. Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus. The show that allows you, the sports fan, to be the star.
Welcome back in. Fan Call-In Show on this holiday weekend. Hopefully you're all safe and are having a great holiday. Staying safe from not only the fireworks, but that heat out there as well. You know, this heat is my favorite bid, so
I hate it.
You know,
too,
I enjoy this a lot. We got Trevor chiming in over at the YouTube chat. He says that Eddie George, hands down, he was in C-Deck for that 314-yard game against Illinois. Just a dude being a dude, and Eddie was a dude. Plus, you know, not everybody can wear that midriff like Eddie did, but you wear that midriff jersey with those abs, you're doing things pretty well.
Joey Galloway used to rock that too.
He did.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that. We were talking about some of our favorite Buckeyes, something you can let us know as well. Joey Galloway, I think, was my first favorite Ohio State Buckeye football player. Now, and Jimmy Jackson will always be my favorite Buckeye of all time, but Joey Galloway is on my short list of Ohio State football players.
Chris Spielman's probably the first one that I can remember as a little kid thinking that he was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
The earliest that I can remember is probably Spielman. Yeah.
I mean, that's a good one, right?
He's
number 36, number 36, or linebackers that wear 36 at Ohio State, they're usually pretty good. Let's head out onto the phone lines. Let's go to Greg. Greg, good morning. Thanks for joining the Fan Call-In Show.
Good morning, guys. Can I talk about anything sports?
Anything sports.
Okay. I've got a couple questions for you guys. One is, do you see any way that a 10-2 Ohio State team doesn't make the playoffs? And this morning, I opened up my phone to see a news flash that a commentator that's on 97 Fan frequently has made some bold predictions. Paul Feinbaum predicts that Ohio State is going to lose to Texas and to Michigan. So I don't see any way Ohio State is not going to lose to Michigan this year. But is there anything possible that he must be referring that they're going to lose 3 games? What do you guys make of this?
10-2, Ohio State's a lock to me. I guess with one caveat. If the 2 losses are just horrible blowouts, even then, they've got a tough schedule. So you say they lose 2 games, that means they're going to win 2 of these 4. That means they're going to win Texas or Penn State or Illinois or Michigan. Drop 2 of those, right? Mm-hmm. With that schedule, I'd be pretty surprised if 10-2. I'd be shocked if 10-2 Ohio State doesn't get in.
10-2 Ohio State is definitely getting in the playoff. I don't care who the losses are to. 10-2 Ohio State is getting in the playoff because we know they set the precedent last year that 3 or 4 Big Ten teams at least are getting in this thing. And we talked about this a little bit last hour, that you got to think Ohio State's in. You got to think Penn State's in. I'm a big believer in Illinois. Oregon's going to be right there. So I think if Ohio State has 2 losses, they are still getting in the playoff. I hope Ohio State doesn't have 2 losses. I saw Paul Feinbaum's comments, and maybe we will touch on those a little later in the show, but I can guarantee you next hour during Fan Sports Sunday, we are going to talk about those because those are in the show sheet ready to go. Paul Feinbaum's had an interesting couple weeks here because he said anybody that thinks Ryan Day is a top 2 or 3 coach in the NCAA is crazy. And then he says this about Ohio State, that he thinks they're losing to Texas and he thinks they'll lose to Michigan. I'll just say this on Greg's comment, how he didn't see Ohio State any way they could lose to Michigan this year. Well, I didn't think there was any way they were losing to Michigan last year. I didn't think there was any way they were losing to Michigan in 93 or 95. So crazy things happen in these rivalry games. And, you know, I think a lot of people are like, Ryan Day's lost 4 in a row to them, and they saw what happened last year, which the further we get away from that bids, it like baffles me even more. Like I still, like the further we get away, the more I can't believe that happened. But it did. So that's a hump. Ryan Day got over the, maybe the top 5 hump in the national championship hump this year. He's got to get over this Michigan hump this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And before we go to our next caller, we'll say I did leave off one guy that, might be right with Spielman as my first Buckeye that I loved. I can't believe I forgot about him, and on the same team, Keith Byers. Oh. So I was a little kid. So Keith Byers and Chris Spielman were my 2 guys. Dayton's own Chris.
Shoeless Keith Byers.
Dayton's own Keith Byers. That's right.
Let's head back out to those phone lines. Let's go to Randy. Randy, good morning. Thanks for joining the Fan Call-In Show.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy holiday weekend there.
Same to you, Randy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to go with sort of a best player, but best team that I actually got to meet in person. It was the 75-76, I believe, Buckeyes. I used to go to the filmings of the old Woody Hayes shows at the 10 TV studio when I was a kid and got to meet Woody Hayes, Archie Griffin, Nick Bonamici, Jeff Logan, all those guys in person, and still have an autographed football from them. And those guys had a lot of attitude back then, man.
That's awesome. Unfortunately, They got beat by UCLA in the Rose Bowl that year.
Yeah, and the funny thing was, in one of the studio recordings, Woody Hayes, they had lost a game that year. I can't remember which game it was. And in the studio, one of the cameramen was behind his camera and started chuckling, like, about the loss. And Woody got up and said, "You better shut the bleep up or I'm leaving the studio right now."
That's awesome. Woody, one of a kind. I don't know if he would make it in today's college football bids, but that's one of the shames. Like, we've heard of the 68 team, those 70s teams with Archie and whatnot. Unfortunately for us, we don't have that firsthand experience. We didn't get to see that. And, it's just some of the great Ohio State teams that, but I think I got, people that did see that, like my grandparents who are getting to see the greatness right now of this Ohio State football team and how they would feel about that.
Yeah, if I could pick any Ohio State player, and including guys that I never saw play as my favorite, it would be Archie. And a big reason, obviously, the only two-time winner of the Heisman Trophy. But what a great man! What a great ambassador for Ohio State. To this day, he just exudes class. Very humble. He has every reason not to be humble. I love the fact that he's from Columbus. Eastmore High School, and what he did here. And again, he was a great football player, and he might be an even better man. So, Archie Griffin is just salt of the earth. So if I could pick anybody that I didn't actually see play, it'd be Archie. I guess I technically saw him play when I was a very little kid when he played for the Bengals. I don't know if that really counts, though. But Archie Griffin, man, it's hard to beat him.
614-821-9710 is the number to call. Again, we've got some ESPN Sportsbook dining credits over at the Hollywood Casino for some of our favorite callers. A favorite 4th of July plate, the greatest athlete you've ever seen, your favorite Buckeye of all time. Anything you want to talk about, it is your show. Let's head back out to those phone lines. Let's go to Donovan. Donovan, good morning. You're on the Fan Call-In Show.
How you guys doing today?
Donovan, we're great. How are you?
Doing good. I kind of wanted to piggyback off of the favorite player, but it was more of a favorite position group of players. It was the A.J. Hawk, Bobby Carpenter, and Anthony Schlegel group as linebackers. The first time I remember watching Buckeye football was actually the 2002 national championship season, so right at the beginning of their Buckeye career.
Mm-hmm.
But as I continued watching on, it became like, oh, I want to be like them growing up as a football player. It just some of the greatest plays I've seen as a linebacker out of that group.
And it's so cool that they're like close friends to this day. They're boys to this day. They were close when they were at Ohio State 20 years ago, and they're still best friends to this day, those three.
Donovan, hang on the line. We're going to give you one of those ESPN dining credits to the ESPN Sportsbook over at Hollywood Casino. That 0-2 team bids, I think, will forever be my favorite Ohio State football team because it's the first national championship that I saw. Not the first championship in my fandom, because I'll always have the 1990 Reds for that, but that was the first championship that I saw here at Ohio State, and I fell in love with Tress from the moment he got there, and there was just so many special moments in that season where they just won. It didn't matter what happened. Somehow they always won, whether it was Maurice Hall in overtime or Holy Buckeye or Clarett stripping Sean Taylor. There are just so many memorable moments from that season. That 0-2 team will always be my favorite Buckeye football team.
Very well said, because it's the same way for me. I had the 90 Reds, and none of my other teams ever won. I guess Bulls, but that's not a team from Ohio. They were my team, but other than the Bulls and other than the Reds, that's, and Ohio State football meant more to me than any of those teams. Reds a close second. For Ohio State to win that national championship in 2002 was just so awesome, especially after Michigan just dominating the Buckeyes for so long. Tressel comes in, wins in 01, beats Michigan, then beats them again in 02. Thinking, okay, house money, at least we're going to the national championship game. Oh, how about they beat Miami in one of the best games in college football history. So I'm with you, man. That 2002 Ohio State national championship team will always be my favorite Ohio State team.
Donovan mentioned those three linebackers as well. I've got another comment on them. 614-821-9710 is the number to call. Jeremiah, hang on. In 2 minutes, you're next on the Fan Call-In Show.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
We could tell you what makes Giant Eagle special, but we think our customers say it best.
I love the fresh produce. I love the fresh meat.
I'm pretty sure the fish guy knows me by now. We're buds.
I love to grill. That alone keeps me coming back.
The people that work here are so nice and so helpful.
Everybody loves the cakes from Giant Eagle.
On every shelf, in every department, we're always going for better, because being your Giant Eagle matters.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
This is my Giant Eagle.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
Cool Cars. cool people, good times. It's the biggest and best hot rodding event of the year. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. July 11th through the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 classics from across the USA. Shop the swap meet at Huge Vendor Midway. See which rides take home the crown of the 2025 Classic Instrument Street Rods and PPG Street Machine of the Year. July 11th through the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers.
And I'm his very overpaid celebrity endorser, Common Man. Bob, I heard somewhere, actually from you many, many times, that Worthington Jewelers is where Columbus gets engaged.
It's too bad you and Timmy can't engage the audience.
Good zing, Bob.
If you're thinking of popping the question, there's only one place to go.
Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington. WorthingtonJewelers.com. Tell them Common Man sent you.
The Columbus Zoo invites you to follow the footsteps and the tales of animals from around the world. Explore our newest region, North America Trek. So what are you waiting for? Get your tail to our trails only at your Columbus Zoo.
Common Man, a radio veteran, has a large hemorrhoid. Timmy Hall, a good, clean boy, moonlights as man's hemorrhoid. Common Man and Timmy.
Weekdays at 3.
The Fan. Back to the show of the fans, by the fans, and for these crazy fans. The Fan Call-In Show, presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
It is your show. It is the Fan Call-In Show. Ryan Baker here with you. Dave Biddle filling in for Scotty Vegas. Cam Taylor on the other side of the glass taking your calls. We appreciate all the callers. Again, that number, 614-821-9710. We do have those dining credits to the ESPN Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino to give away to some of our favorite callers. 614-821-9710. We will talk about anything you want to talk about in the sports world. We're also we got to do this. We'll do this segment, I promise. Give our perfect 4th of July holiday plate. Let's head back out to those phone lines right now, though, and let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah, thanks for calling. Good morning. You're on the Fan Call-In Show.
Good morning. I was going to talk about some of the best athletes that I've seen live.
All right, go ahead.
Actually, I have an athlete, and it was works. Going in the Wayback Machine. It's LeBron in high school in a state championship semi and a state championship game. Got to see him twice at the shot.
Yeah, and I mean, he was there 4 years in a row, so a lot of people in Columbus got to see him back then.
Yeah, so and you know obviously how great he turned into and how great he was in high school. Go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead. Finish up.
And I want to go in a little different direction. The single greatest performance that I've seen live actually was also at the high school level, and that was Joe Burrow in the state championship game. Granted, in a loss, but that team was not beaten; they were just outscored, and he put up some incredible numbers in that game, and rushing and passing. And I don't have them in front of me, but it was the greatest high school performance that I've seen live.
Joe Burrow was a good one. Thanks for the call, Jeremiah. And Joe was also a pretty darn good basketball player down at Athens as well. I remember that run. He beat DeSales in the state semifinals that year, and I believe he threw for over 400 yards, and I think he did the same in that game, in that state championship game. Joe Burrow, you know how much faith I have in the Bengals because of my faith in Joe Burrow, and I think they always have a chance with him. His story, though, for the state of Ohio is pretty great, and I don't know if we give it enough credit. And
I remember that because those games were all televised. I remember that playoff run. He just put Athens on his back. They had some decent players on that team, but yeah, I mean, like the caller just said, I mean, they had no business, having the game be that close, but Burrow was just amazing. And that's when he sold me during that playoff run, because people were like, really? We're getting some guy from the Plains, high school, really? What's going on here? And it's watch him play. He's special. Don't worry that he's from a small school. This guy is special. And obviously, they had a tough decision to make. I remember seeing the pain on Urban Meyer's face when people were asking him about the battle between Dwayne Haskins and Joe Burrow. Really no wrong answers there. Dwayne Haskins had a fantastic year as the quarterback. I also think it's a false narrative, people saying, look what Joe Burrow did that year. Yeah, but Burrow didn't have the same weapons that he had the following year at LSU. So who knows what Joe Burrow would have done at Ohio State. Right. But I do remember Urban. A lot of times when coaches are talking about that, you're like, okay, he's full of crap. He knows who his guy is. You could tell Urban was completely torn.
I think that's one of those moves in sports where it worked out for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And you can say what if and question it, but no, I think it was the best case scenario for everyone involved because Dwayne Haskins statistically probably had the best year ever for an Ohio State quarterback that year.
Definitely
and
best
obviously
passing season, yeah.
that next year, what Joe Burrow did with LSU and winning the national championship and how good that offense was. It's just one of those situations where sometimes everything works out probably perfect for everyone involved.
No doubt about it. It really did. Burrow wouldn't do it all over again. I'm sure he would do it all over again for sure. Even if he wanted to be a Buckeye, I mean, look how it worked out for him. I mean, everything. And it's a really cool story how he's from Ohio, played at Ohio State, graduated from Ohio State, and is now at the Bengals.
Let's head back out on those phone lines now. Let's go to Jake. Jake, good morning. You're on the Fan Call-In Show.
Hey, how's it going?
We're doing good, Jake. How about you?
I'm hanging in there.
What do you got for us?
So I want to get your guys' take on, I don't know if you've seen any recent pictures of, Jeremiah Smith, but he's been bulking up. He went from 205 down to, I think, up to 225 now. He's hitting the gym looking pretty good. What do you guys think we're going to be able to expect from him this year?
I mean, the ceiling is the Heisman, right? I mean, I don't think he's going to win I'm not picking him to win the Heisman, and it's crazy to say this because he's played 1 year, and I know I'm not the first and the last to say this, but he's going to go down as the best wide receiver to come through here, and that's crazy when you're talking about Chris Carter, Joey Galloway, Terry Glenn, all the recent first-round picks. It wasn't that long ago we were saying Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be the best one to come through here. Emeka was a first-round pick. You had Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave were first-round picks. I mean, just on Jackson Smith and Jigba, on and on and on. And I think Jeremiah Smith will be the best to come through here. And you're right, man. He was quoted in The Athletic saying he came in about 205, 208 when he enrolled early at Ohio State in January of 2024. He's now up to about 220. He's faster than ever, he says. And he's benching like he's an offensive lineman at the combine, man. He's throwing up 20 reps of 225 on the bench as a wide receiver. This guy is a freak, and he has the natural God-given abilities, but what he's done is just work his butt off. He is a hard worker. He stayed humble. So what can we expect out of Jeremiah Smith? I mean, the sky's the limit.
Body by Maradi is real over at Ohio State. And obviously, Jeremiah had the frame and the build and the athletic ability before it. I mean, you've heard probably the guy he's been compared to the most probably that I've heard is Julio Jones. So you always knew that he had that freakish size and that ability. You mentioned all those guys, best freshman wide receiver numbers ever from him last year. I believe it was 74 catches, over 1,350 and 14 touchdowns for Jeremiah. You'd have to think those numbers are going to take a bump this year with no Emeka Egbuka and no Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. Still, the question with Jeremiah this year is there's a lot of mouths to feed, right, on this Ohio State team. And we believe that one of these two quarterbacks is going to step in and take the job, but it's still their first year. So you got to remember that. He's got a first-year quarterback throwing to him as well. But Carnell Tate, James Peoples, C.J. Donaldson, Max Clare, who you know that I love, Brandon Ennis, Mylan Graham, there's still an embarrassment of riches on this Ohio State football team.
And another part of that athletic story on Jeremiah Smith this past week that was very interesting was what he said about Julian Sayin. There's no doubt in his mind that Sayin's going to be the guy. He didn't say that, but he's like, he can make all the throws. He's going to be a big-time problem for our opponents. He's going to be a guy. And it was like, and that reminded me, Ryan Baker, of what a lot of the guys who are now in the NFL, who are seniors on Ohio State's team this past year, were saying at the Combine, when people were asking them, hey, what do you think about Julian Sayin? And guys that are not afraid to shoot you straight, like Denzel Burke, guys like that, were all gushing about him. So, game knows game. You got Jeremiah Smith saying Julian Sayin's the real deal. I'm going to buy into that.
And listen, if Jeremiah Smith would have been asked about Lincoln Keenholz, you probably would have got the same kind of gushing review, I'm guessing, from Jeremiah. But it is, the questions are being asked about Julian Sayin. They're not being asked about Lincoln Keenholz. Bids, I told everybody that we were going to talk about our favorite 4th of July food plate, our perfect one. Now, I'm real simple when it comes to food. I'm a meat and potatoes type of guy. So I feel like this is as American as it gets with my 4th of July plate. My perfect plate, give me a dog on there, give me a burger, give me a nice piece of corn on the cob.
Jeez.
And then some wavy potato chips, and I'm happy. That's the perfect 4th of July plate to me.
We almost have the exact same thing because when I'm grilling out, or if I always like putting this, almost always like having a steaks on the grill in addition for having dogs, burgers, whatever, chicken. 4th of July is different. I want it to be like a little just more like what you're saying. I have almost the exact same thing, Ryan. I almost put a dog down too, but I left that out. But you could throw a hot dog or a brat on here, or one of those sausages, a smoked sausage with like the cheese inside.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, those are so good. Okay, I wrote down a burger. Just give me a burger. I'm not even a huge American cheese fan, except when it's on a burger, on a charcoal grill. I love that. Typically, I like all different kinds of cheese, but on a burger, American cheese is perfect. Give me a burger. Give me corn on the cob. Probably at least 2 pieces of corn on the cob. Give me some mac and cheese. And you're right. Give me some potato chips.
Mm-hmm. That's good. And I'll tell you what.
Watermelon too, maybe.
Corn on the cob on the grill. I've been doing that quite a bit here recently, now that corn on the cob is easily accessible in the summer months.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it gets better than that.
It's so good.
So good.
Especially, we have plenty of corn in Ohio. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Lots of corn.
It's not very expensive.
Lots of corn.
It's like, how much you pay for that? Oh, it was like 15 cents.
Was it at the Meijer the other day? I think it was 5 for $1, something like that.
Awesome. It's like,
it was so good.
You could just live off that.
Jacob, I see that we've got you on the line. We will get to you coming up next in the final segment. We'll also have a little story about the Ohio State linebackers from the 2002 National Championship as well. It's the Fan Call-In Show on The Fan.
We're the highest rated sports radio station in America. There's no joke there. We just are. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's a different world today than it was 30 years ago when I started Care Heating and Cooling. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, 30 years ago, you were the first to warn of companies using service technicians as salespeople, of abusing the trust that a service technician has. With the big conglomerates now buying companies all over Central Ohio, this has become the normal business model.
It's all about greed. The conglomerates know they can make a lot more money by incentivizing their technicians to sell air conditioners instead of fixing them. They train their techs to take advantage of a customer when they are the most vulnerable.
Dad, that is not how we were taught. In 2024, Care Heating and Cooling was awarded a BBB Torch Award for ethics and was named the Lennox Partner of the Year. You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Summer is hot, sticky, and buggy. But Modelo is cold, crisp, and smooth. When you're sweating through your shirt and the beach is mad crowded, the lime and salt flavors of a Modelo Chelada hit just right. When the weather's perfect but you're still at work, it's time to clock out and stock up on Modelo. Drink responsibly. Beer and flavored beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Hey, it's Austin Ward here. Did you jump into Awaken 180's Lose 40 by the 4th offer? If you did, wasn't it simple? People think losing weight has to be difficult, but it really isn't if you have the right plan, the right support, and if you're eating to lose weight. If you missed 40 by the 4th, no worries. There's plenty of summer left to hit your goals. Barbecues, golf, pool parties, all included with Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Start today and start dropping weight your very first week. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Join Rothman and Ice every Thursday at 2:30 for Gold Jacket Thursday.
Presented by the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A new Hall of Famer joins the show every week. But not OJ, because he's dead and probably a murderer. The Fan.
Back.
to Hollywood Casino Columbus and the ESPN Bet Sportsbook for an all-star game celebration and watch party. When? Tuesday, July 15th. Compete in our home run derby at 7 o'clock for a chance to win an incredible experience at an upcoming Reds game, plus a $250 gift card. So join On the Money's Dave Biddle and me, Scotty Vegas. Compete to win at 7 and enjoy the all-star game at the ESPN Bet Sportsbook at 8. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This 4th of July, Bob's Discount Furniture is bringing back 4 for the 4th. Spotlighting 4 must-have trendsetters for $7.99 and under, like my farmhouse chic Calvin bedroom, Playday sectional with pop-up sleeper and hidden storage, Consumer Reports recommended treasure mattress, and my 5-star Betty dining set in 4 gorgeous colors. So stop in or visit mybobs.com and celebrate 4 for the 4th. Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone for Window Nation. Did you know their co-founders are Ohio natives? Yeah. Window Nation has been replacing windows in the Columbus region for over 15 years. Not only does Window Nation know what windows work best for Ohio homeowners like you, they're also local to the area. And right now, you can take advantage of Window Nation's biggest sale of the year. Get 50% off all window styles, plus 0 interest for 5 whole years. You heard that right. With Window Nation, you won't pay any interest until 2030. Plus, they'll install your new windows in 1 day or less, so you can get back to your daily routine right away. Personally, I wouldn't procrastinate. You don't want to wait on this deal. It's a trustworthy company like Window Nation, getting your windows in 1 day or less. 50% off all window styles now, plus 0 interest until 2030 with Window Nation. Call them up, 866-90NATION, or visit windownation.com to get your free quote on replacement windows. 866-90NATION or windownation.com. And tell them T-Bone sent you.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Ever want to be a radio star?
It's all about the radio.
Or at least hear your voice on the air?
The radio's all yours now.
This is the show for you. This is the Fan Call-In Show. Presented by ESPN Bet at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Big thanks to everybody that has called in today. We wouldn't have this show without you, so we appreciate it. Also, our fans over on the YouTube page as well. You can always chime in over on YouTube. Just search 971 The Fan on YouTube, and you will see the live stream. Real quick, Bids, got this text from our guy Tito. Best athlete he's ever seen live? Eric Davis or LeBron James. And it's funny, you and I talked about Eric Davis in one of the breaks as being Reds fans, and Eric Davis is my favorite Red of all time. And one of the thrills for me when I went to spring training a couple years ago was Eric Davis is just hanging out down there. He's one of the Reds hitting coaches, obviously, and I'm sitting there watching Reds prospects bat, and I'm on the fence right next to Eric Davis talking to him. And that was like one of the biggest thrills to me. One of the greatest what-ifs in sports ever to me is if Eric Davis could have stayed healthy and wouldn't have got hurt in that 1990 World Series, and that kind of threw, injuries kind of derailed his career. He would have been the first 40-40 guy ever had he not ran into the wall at Wrigley and gotten hurt with, I think, 3 weeks or a month left in the season. He had 37 home runs and 50 RBIs. He would have been the first 40-40 guy ever, I'm convinced.
He was definitely my favorite Red growing up, and still probably to this day is, unless I pick a different 44 on the current team. I love that Ellie De La Cruz is wearing that 44. And he's got a ways to go to pass Eric Davis in my book, but yeah, man. I mean, I love that little tradition they have with wearing that 44. But yeah, Eric Davis to me, that was creme de la creme growing up being a Reds fan. Obviously, I like Barry Larkin too, but there was just something different about Davis. He was so explosive and just, not as big as Ellie, but reminded me of that with just everything he did with those quick wrists and everything. He was just so explosive. He felt like he was the fastest guy in the league. Maybe not the fastest guy in the league because you had like Ricky Henderson and stuff like that. Deion Sanders maybe for a little bit. But yeah, man, hard to beat Eric Davis and hard to beat Ellie De La Cruz right now.
Eric Davis was just so cool, right? And like that Magnum 44 poster like that everybody had, it was just so awesome and so great to see. Earlier we had a caller talking about the 2002 national championship team and the freshman linebackers on that team. We were talking earlier this week on Bishop and Friends about how recruiting has changed. And, the first, like, Jeremiah Smith in his recruitment was such a big deal. And you remember Terrell Pryor, how it was like the biggest hype ever around a Buckeye recruit. And we were talking about, was Clarett and the hype for Clarett like that? And I don't necessarily remember Clarett, but what I do remember from those freshmen on that 02 team was that group of linebackers and the hype there was for him.
Mike D'Andrea.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like Bobby and A.J. Hawk, who were the two that went on to have really good careers and play in the NFL, they were kind of add-ons in that linebacker group because Mike D'Andrea was the guy that headlined that list. And
Bobby
of course
was pretty. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
He had some injuries, right?
Yeah.
And his career just never really got going at Ohio State, and Schlegel ended up transferring in, and it will always be, Bobby, AJ, and Schlegs. But I remember the recruiting hype for those linebackers being really big, and that's kind of the first time I remember recruiting hype in Ohio State.
Yeah, and that 2002 class was awesome. I mean, you look back on some of those classes, like 2013 is another one. That was the crux of the 2014 national championship team. You look at the 2021 class, the guys that just graduated, that was the crux of this past 2024 championship team. That 2002 team, obviously, the crux of the national champions was not the true freshman, but you look at that class, man, you're right. Mike D'Andrea had a ton of hype. Clarett had a lot of hype. It was just different because he was the first one that I can remember that enrolled early. He graduated early. He came into his senior year at Warren Harding saying, I love this. He came before the year. He said, they already have my name on that Mr. Football trophy. I just need to go down to Columbus and pick it up. So that before the year started, had a tremendous year, and then came in the winter, and there was all this talk, and then you saw him out there during spring. It was just like, damn. And right away, he was taking first-team reps over Lydell Ross and Maurice Hall, guys that you thought were kind of established. So there was a lot of hype about Clarett. He was in USA Today's National Football Player of the Year. I don't know if he was Athlete of the Year, if he was just the Football Player of the Year. I have to go back and look. But you're right. If there was anybody else than Clarett that had a ton of hype, it was Mike D'Andrea. Yeah.
And also in that class, you had Justin Zwick, who had a ton of hype as the quarterback. And like Troy Smith was the last player in that class, and he kind of came in as an athlete. Jay Zwick, though, had a lot of hype as a quarterback, especially one being from Ohio and winning a state championship at Orville and then transferring to Massillon and, playing for that program and the storied history that he has. Like, those were the recruits in that class that I remember, D'Andrea and Zwick. Maybe I should remember more of the Maurice hype. I feel like I didn't really hear Maurice hype until it was like, hey, this guy's going to start as a freshman.
Yeah, maybe it was because, I remember it because Clarett was like his own thing. Like he came in January or wherever it was, whenever he enrolled, February, and then the other guys all enrolled. That was back when you would enroll like right before like camp started, and you'd have a couple of days where it's just the freshmen practicing. So those guys, I remember they moved into Fawcett Center. Like D'Andrea had a bunch of, I was like very new on the beat. D'Andrea had a bunch of reporters around him. That class was amazing. I mean, you mentioned Troy Smith, the last guy in that class. Another guy that redshirted that year, Santonio Holmes. Tressel said he almost played him. It should have. He ended up only staying 4 years anyway. He wasn't going to stay 5 years. But that class was amazing. A.J. Hawk, you're right, was like a 3-star. Ends up being the number 5 overall pick of the draft. Bobby was relatively rated high. But you're right. D'Andrea was like the creme de la creme, you thought, right? And then Bobby was also rated pretty high, but not as high. And then A.J. was the 3-star. It's like,
I'll never forget, and I go back and look at this a lot of times to make sure I'm right, but almost everybody on the 2 deep of that Ohio State roster that year played in the NFL, and every guy on the defensive side of that 2 deep did play in the NFL, even if it was just for a little while. Like I think of some guy on that team like Tim Anderson, who most people forget about as a D tackle. He had a couple good years with the Bills.
He was like a third-round pick, too. It wasn't like he was a 7th-round pick. He was like a third-round pick. Here's the thing about the starters on that 2002 defense. All of them were drafted. The lowest pick was Donnie Nicky in the 5th round. So all of them are 5th round or better. A lot of them are 1st, 2nd, 3rd round. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And you're right. Backups like A.J. Hawk, Will Allen, on and on, that were backups on that team. Will Allen was the nickel back. I don't know if you consider him a backup. Yeah, even the backups on that team ended up playing the NFL. I mean, A.J. Hawk played a decent amount as a true freshman. A guy that we don't talk about probably enough is Matt Wilhelm. man, he was good that year. Matt Wilhelm was great in 2002.
And where was it? His son? Just his son's an offensive lineman up at St. Ed's in Cleveland. He just committed. Was it North Carolina that he committed? Mason committed to? I'd have to look at that and make sure. But I know Tim May just had him on his podcast talking about that and kind of going through the recruiting process as a player back in the day and how it's different now as a dad and everything. Matt Wilhelm was one of my favorites. He was one of the last guys I feel like that wore the real big shoulder pads and the neck roll, and he was always a guy, I think, drafted by the Chargers, I believe Wilhelm was,
Third or
at fifth
fourth
round, something like that.
Yeah, it was a third or fourth round, and then he lasted in the league for a while.
I just remember that offensive line. I feel like as Buckeye fans, we gave that offensive line throughout that 02 year a lot of crap. And like Shane Olivier, I remember for sure, was a guy that was like kind of the ire of fans a lot of times, but he went on to the pros and played for a long time. It's just crazy when you look back. Like everybody on that 2 deep for that team at least had a cup of coffee in the NFL. Bids, it has been very fun hanging out with you this morning for On the Money. Thank you for hanging around and doing the call-in show. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday and your weekend. It was a blast. Don't go anywhere, though. Matt Fontana, myself, Nate Pewterball coming up next. It's Fan Sports Sunday next on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here in The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
The big one is back. The Good Guys 27th Summit Racing Nationals presented by PPG. July 11th through the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus. Over 6,000 of the nation's baddest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Don't miss Good Guys autocross racing action. A tire-smoking burnout competition. A pro street takeover. Earth-shaking Nitro Thunderfest. Meet the top builders in the industry and more. July 11th through the 13th at the Ohio Expo Center. Details at good-guys.com.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio!
Right now, save up to $494 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Aaron, guess what we're getting ready to celebrate?
America's birthday?
That's right. How did you guess?
Well, you're dressed like Yankee Doodle, and you're wearing a tri-corner hat, and you've got a snare drum.
Get Eco. G-E-T-E-C-O. Get Eco. They can really go. Get Eco. For your Cinco. Fixin' a Blinko. You'll think-o. Hooray. Get Eco. G-E-T-E-C-O. Get Eco. You'll be cool like snow. Get Eco. Like an ice Ringo. Puerto Rico. Get Eco today. Huh? What do you think?
Jerry, are you suggesting that Puerto Rico become the 51st state?
I could invent a brand new 51-star flag.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Have a safe 4th of July, everyone.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing. 614-NEW-ROOF. NewmanRoofing.com.
Listen to Financially Fit Radio with Corey Sickles this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN, covering topics like what you need to know about annuities and how to stay healthy and enjoy retirement. Financially Fit Radio this Saturday at 9 a.m. on 1460 ESPN.